Have you ever noticed how the things we chase after rarely satisfy for long? Success, possessions, even relationships can bring joy for a season, but eventually they leave us wanting more. That's why the words of Psalm 73, verse 26 are so powerful. God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. This verse reminds us that true satisfaction and lasting fulfillment can only be found in Him. Everything else fades, but God Himself is our eternal reward and portion. Our hearts are wired to seek satisfaction. As we grow, we often attach those longings to earthly things, relationships, achievements, possessions, or even the approval of others. While none of these are inherently wrong, they all share one common flaw: they cannot last. The job promotion eventually loses its shine, possessions grow old, and even the closest human relationships cannot meet every need of the soul. That is why so many people, despite having what looks like everything, still confess to feeling empty. The psalmist Asaph, who wrote Psalm 73, came face to face with this truth. At first, he struggled with envy when he saw the prosperity of the wicked. They seemed to have more comfort, more wealth, and fewer struggles. He wondered if his devotion to God was pointless. But then, as he entered God's sanctuary, his perspective changed. He realized that worldly gain is temporary, while the Lord Himself is eternal. In that moment, he declared, "God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." Notice the word portion. In the ancient world, a portion referred to one's share of inheritance or blessing. While others might chase after land, riches, or status, Asaph understood that his true inheritance was the Lord Himself. To have God was to have everything, because nothing could outlast or outshine Him. When we rest in God as our portion, we stop striving for satisfaction in things that will eventually crumble. We discover peace that is not dependent on circumstances, joy that is not tied to possessions, and security that is not shaken by uncertainty. This doesn't mean we can't enjoy the blessings of life, but it does mean we hold them loosely, knowing they were never meant to be our ultimate treasure. Think about how this truth shapes daily life. When a career shift brings disappointment, you can remind yourself that your identity is not tied to a job but to God's unchanging love. When relationships experience strain, you can lean into the Lord as the one who fills every gap. When resources feel scarce, you can trust that the provider Himself is your portion, and He never runs dry. In a restless and unsatisfied world, this perspective sets us apart. Our testimony becomes a living declaration that real fulfillment is not found in what we own, but in whom we belong to. God Himself is our eternal satisfaction, our everlasting inheritance, and the one who will never fade away. When everything else fades, God remains. Psalm 73, verse 26 reminds us that He alone is our portion forever, the source of eternal satisfaction. Careers, possessions, and even relationships may shift, but His presence is unchanging. When we anchor our hearts in Him, we find peace, security, and joy that no circumstance can take away. Let this truth steady you today. Your greatest inheritance is not what you can gain, but the eternal God who holds you forever. Father, thank You for being our portion forever. In a world that offers fleeting satisfaction, You alone are our lasting treasure. Forgive us for the times we have chased after lesser things, forgetting that You are the true source of joy and peace. Teach us to rest in Your presence and to hold tightly to You above all else. May our hearts be anchored in Your love today and always. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for joining me today. Remember, God is your portion forever, your eternal satisfaction that never fades. If this message encouraged you, please share it and subscribe so others can experience the hope found in Jesus. Stay rooted in His Word and His love.